English pop singer-songwriter Melanie C has released an album amid the pandemic. I asked her about the public's response to her self-titled album, and here's what she had to say.
Amazing. It's been received so well. I'm so excited. I was very nervous about releasing an album during the pandemic, but I think it's been the right thing to do because people have really responded to having new music, to almost being distracted from all of the other things that are going on in the world right now.
Now tell us more about this album. I mean, the theme, what were the inspirations behind the songs? I mean, you had a long journey as when you started as a performer way back when you're only 22 to now a wonderful age in your 40s. So do tell us the journeys, I mean, ups and downs that has led to this album.
Well, journey is the perfect word because I have had an incredible life, both in music, entertainment, and personally, and it's definitely had its ups and downs. I was back on stage with the Spice Girls last year. We did a stadium tour here in the UK, and I had the opportunity to become Sporty Spice again, and I realised I don't actually become her, it's within me. And I just felt very reflective at this time and very lucky and proud of all of our achievements. So it made me have this new level of self-acceptance, and I really wanted to celebrate all aspects of myself. And I wanted to bring that into my work on this album. It's a pop record, but it's very dance inspired. Lyrically, I want it to be empowering, and I want the listener to enjoy listening to it as much as I've enjoyed performing it.
Now, how different, though, is this album from your previous works? This is your eighth album that's out. So how different? Why the self-empowerment now, Love Yourself, and not in your previous albums? Tell me about that.
I think because I've been searching all these years, and I've always been a pop artist, and I love so many genres of music, but it felt really fitting to have more of a dance feel on this album. I've been DJing for a few years, so that reignited the passion for dance music. So there's some influences of disco and 90s music and even house music. So it's been a lot of fun working with those sounds.
And I guess you being a DJ, I mean, helped a little bit. You know the trend and you know what people like to get up and actually dance and have a wonderful time, right?
It's such a different experience being a DJ. You know, the way you perform to an audience is very different to how you perform as a DJ trying to get a dance floor moving. So it gives you this new perspective, which I think has been really helpful in making this album really dancey and fun.
Now, along with the album launch, I mean, you also had a full band global live stream event. I mean, this is your way of trying to promote and still perform amid the pandemic. Was that something that you missed most of all during the pandemic? I mean, you're performing inside a room with just your band. What was that like?
Oh my goodness, you are so right. It is the thing I miss the most. I think like all performers, we are just dying to get out there and see our fans, feel that connection, that energy, being in venues together. But for now, the best thing we can do are the streams and staying in touch like us today, you know, through different streaming platforms. And I did my Colour and Light stream to launch the album. And I wanted to give people a bit of a taste of what you will see when we eventually get this album on the road. I have some dates planned in Europe for the spring, but we're obviously having to monitor that situation. And beyond that, when we can get out there, when we can travel again, and when it's safe to be together again, I want to travel the world and get out to all of my fans.
Okay, now speaking of your album and the track list that's in there, do you have like one of your standout songs?
Okay, so this album has been really interesting because all the albums I've made, I find people gravitate towards certain songs, but this one, people keep choosing different songs, and it feels like it's such a strong album. I've been like struggling to know which should be the single because I just feel so strongly about all of them. But there's one song which was the first single. It's called Who I Am, and it really introduces the album and the theme of self-empowerment and self-acceptance, and it's the perfect song that really, if anyone wants to know what this album's like, that's the one to listen to.
Last year, 90s girls group Spice Girls reunited on stage for a concert tour. Sporty Spice Melanie C relived that moment in this interview.
It was so incredible being back with the girls, and I think in many ways it was one of our most cherished experiences. I think because we're all older, so we have so much more appreciation of each other, and the audiences were so incredible. We had flags from all over the world, and I feel like our fans have really grown up with us, so we were sharing this very special experience. We would love to do it again. I think, you know, obviously everybody's plans are up in the air with the pandemic, but, you know, beyond that, we do talk about getting back on stage. So fingers crossed that's something we can do in the not too distant future.
And also performing now as a more mature adult. You've done the songs before. Did it have a different feel performing it, 20 or so years later?
You know, I was worried. I thought, can I still do it? You know, it has been a long time, but the energy was still there. The passion was still the same. I think the one thing that was different is that there's a newfound appreciation. You know, you soak up the atmosphere and you really take all these like visual snapshots, because you know how quickly these things pass and how quickly time passes. So I would say it was actually even better an experience because I have so many more memories of it.
You did mention a lot about depression and how you actually handled it. And now with the pandemic, I mean, actually there are a lot of people going through possibly the same thing. What would be your advice or any tips that you could help them along the way, seeing as is that you have, overcome and you've regained your strength and your self-love and appreciation?
Yeah, well, I feel that this year has been very challenging for all of us, especially with our mental health. And I felt it too, I feel it's so important to speak and to communicate and to stay connected, which is so hard when we feel so isolated, So I would always say to people, reach out. I know when I've had my low times, I feel like I'm worried to speak to my friends and my family because I don't want to be like a burden. I don't want to bring other people down. But I think the people who love you, they would want to know that you needed their help, So reach out, stay connected as much as you can through these troubled times.
Okay, now where are you at right now, Melanie? Looking forward, will you be back on the road, hopefully, by next year? You did mention you have a series possibly of concerts planned. Anything else over our end of the world?
Well, that is my plan, and that is my hope and my wish. And I just send all of my love to everybody over there. I know that you guys are having a hard time as we are here. And I want to come over. I've never made it there. I've had plans that have not happened. So I think you are long overdue a visit. So as soon as I can, I would love to come and visit you and perform.
Thank you so much, Melanie C, for reaching out to us and for sharing all the love and the energy and the passion that you have, not only for your music, but for life as well. And we wish you all the best, and we look forward to more albums from you and, of course, from the Spice Girls as well.
Oh, thank you. So lovely to speak to you. Take care. I hope to see you soon.